Hey everybody, welcome to ShopSmartAutos.com TV. Thank you for tuning in this morning. What we will be doing here every Sunday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time is sharing a topic that is important to new and used car owners and buyers. Each week, we will be joined with our host, Richie Bello, who has spent his entire career in the automotive industry developing solutions for the new and used car buyer. Richie has over 35 years in the automotive industry and a vast wealth of knowledge to help you with your wants and needs on how to relate your perspective to dealers across the country. So what does that mean for you? It means Richie's put together ShopSmartAuto.com and this program to help you assist consumer confidence with all your automotive buying and servicing decisions.
Great. So, Eric, it's a great show that we've put together here. You know, the consumer today goes out and calls at least 3 or 4 dealerships. Also, the consumer today goes into dealerships, okay? And whoever treats that consumer the right way with the most knowledge and information that a consumer can actually get, product knowledge, all this. So we have something called, it's a spotlight for dealers that we're recommending that we're going to start doing on this show. But let's go over the process when you buy a car. You know, what's the difference between ShopSmart and all the other search engines as far as Cars Guru and all that? They actually work for the dealer, right? What ShopSmart Auto is we're actually working for the consumer. Okay, because we have a mobile app that's going to be published at the end of this month. And what it does is when you're in the showroom and you're looking at the vehicle, you can scan the VIN number and find out if in a 20-mile radius there is the same vehicle, same color, make, model, and year. If somebody else has that vehicle, Mr. Consumer, that's a good price. It keeps that dealer really, really honest. And the dealers are okay with it because you want to know something, Mr. Consumer? If you lose $100 or $150, it's cheaper somewhere else, you got to look, how far is that place from my home? Does this dealership make sense? Even if it's more money, sometimes I actually buy something because it's so closer to my home, right? And it's convenience. I pass it every day, so I'll pay for something more. Now, if it's closer to you, then it's at a good deal, then you win. So we have this mobile app that gives the consumer all the information. In our mobile app, there's also going to be a part where we review these dealerships that are linked to ShopSmart. And let's talk about what you look for at reputation. When you go to a dealer, you look at their site, they have all these 5 stars. Well, you know what? We all know this. You leave that site and now you search their reviews. ABC Motors, space reviews. Now you look at the real reviews. It's okay. Everybody doesn't like everybody, even if they have a 3 or 4. But what's really important is that 3 go to a 4 or a 4 or 5. Did that dealer provide the consumer with a solution, not just manipulation, review manipulation? You have a bad review. What did they do with that review? Please look into that before you go into a store, because everybody makes mistakes, you know? And you know what? In our mistakes, that's when we learn. And hopefully these dealers can learn that whole thing with the 5 stars, 4 stars, and 3 stars. And it's all about how proactive they are. So let me just say this. A couple of years ago, I have a partner that bought this mattress and was very unhappy. Okay, he gave them a bad review. They immediately contact him through Google with all the information, right? They came back and took care of that mattress, took it out of the house, and replaced it. Now, guess what happened? My partner then went back and gave them a good review, then went on Facebook and recommended them. Now, that's what happens. So that's what you gotta look. See, and buying a car is a very easy process. It does not hurt to buy a car no more. The process is we go online, we shop the best price or the best vehicle or the vehicle we like. We go into the dealership. We first call the dealership. Whoever handles that call the best, we'll get the appointment. You go there, you start getting your information, and you're making a decision. Make sure you know they have a good service department. The salesperson's been there a while. All these factors are important, and you picking the right vehicle. Now, Eric, the co-host here, he works actually at a dealership, Honda, which Honda is a very good brand. Their reviews are okay. You know, could they be better? Absolutely. Everybody's reviews could be better. Okay? Absolutely. But they're pretty much handle the solution. And what you got to look at is a service review before you buy the car. Why is service important? Because you're going to buy the car, so if they have good reviews in their sales process, that's great. But now make sure that that dealership has good reviews and service. What are your thoughts on that, Eric?
You know, I'm glad you brought up, you hit a lot of key points here, reputation. So anyone who's really going to buy a car, like Richie said, take a look at your service reviews, because most people will buy a car from where they service. That's really the biggest thing that you're looking for, is to see how the dealership is going to help you outside of the initial purchase, to make sure that all your servicing needs are going to be taken care of. And just to touch base with something we said earlier, we want to make sure that all of your questions that you have about buying a car before you even go in, that we can answer them for you and make sure that you go in and make the process a smooth and easy one, no matter what dealership you go to. But like we said, back to reputation, a dealer's reputation is really the biggest thing out there now, because dealers no longer, it's no longer I'm going to go to a Sunday afternoon and go to dealership to go buy a car. The average consumer now is going out and looking online, anywhere between 10 to 15 hours and checking reviews. And that's what the key thing is. If someone hasn't taken care of a customer in a proper way, you really have to look at that before you're going into a dealership. Today, we're going to speak on reputation and how we can become more informed on a dealer's reputation in automotive sales and service. But before we start this episode's topic, reputation, we want to first thank our sponsor and producer, ShopSmartAutos.com. The team at ShopSmartAutos.com are responsible for producing this program and developing its content. ShopSmartAutos.com is where shoppers become more confident buyers when looking for the vehicle that they want to buy or service. ShopSmartAutos.com sweeps all the inventory from major automotive sites and participating dealers, offering the car shopper a single location to check out available inventory in their respective markets. Once your wish list is sorted, it's easy to shop and compare from the huge ShopSmartAutos.com inventory. You get the advantage of one site to find all the wants and needs available in your market. At ShopSmartAutos.com, we look for real inventory at really great prices from respected sources that deliver what they promote. If you want to see more, just go to ShopSmartAutos.com. So one of the biggest things out there for anyone buying a car is really the wants and needs of what they're looking for and what they expect when they go to a dealership. Now, Richie, you know better than anyone after being in the automotive industry for well over 35 years. What are some of those wants and needs of the average customer looking for a car is going to have?
Well, the wants and needs work like this. It's real simple. Is it important for a consumer to have, is it 2-door or 4-door? Okay. What's important today for them? Is it important to have all these sensors and all this technology? That's safety? Yes. The answer is yes. So when you walk into a dealership, make sure that the salesman, before they just pick a car, they spend 20 minutes with you on your wants and needs. What are you looking for? Is a bigger engine important to you? More legroom important to you? More headroom important to you? What are you looking for? Do you have 4 or 5 kids and you want a sports utility? Right? There's a lot of products out there. Like, for example, take the Pathfinder today. Pathfinder actually has a 3rd seat, right? So if you really tell them what you're looking for. Okay, so don't be scared of giving information, going over your wants and needs, because that's important. The last thing you want, Mr. Customer, is stay with a car for 3 years and be unhappy with, because then you want to trade it in the first year and a half. So learn your wants and needs, what's important for you. The wheelbase, the headroom, extra power, more horsepower, more preppy for the car. What's important is your safety. Color is important, and all these things are important. But when you're dealing with a salesman, make sure you tell them what you're looking for. Hopefully that salesperson can put you in the right vehicle for you and your family. The other thing to look at is what car has a rebate? What car is good? You might want a cheaper model, but when it comes down to them working a deal out, you might be able to get a better package because of the incentive of the factory. So that's another thing to look for. Just because the car is more money doesn't mean that it doesn't have a much bigger value monthly payment wise. So that's another thing that you got to look at, right? What's the incentives program? And you can probably get a much better car with much more value than that car you were looking for, because it's incentivized by the factory, which is very important. And also, in buying a vehicle, once you got down your wants and needs, don't forget something. You walk into the dealership, you got your wants and needs. You already done all your research on everything in the dealership, right? But what's really interesting is sometimes if you pick a car that has been there a while or it's actually in the showroom, they would want to sell it more, and you can save a few dollars doing it like that. Or why not buy, a car with a little bit of miles, a new car that maybe somebody drove it with 2,500 or 3,000 miles. It belonged to the general manager or it belonged to the owner's family. Why not drive that car, right? So sometimes you get a better deal like that. So these are the things that you got to look at. The other thing that you got to look at is with the dealership you're buying a car from, how long have they been there as that owner? And how is their service department? How is their parts department? Okay, and that's the things you want to know. Now, you're buying the wants and needs. You already purchased the vehicle. Now, and something to be aware of, very careful when you do financing in a dealership, all right? Because financing in a dealership has to be done professionally and right. I recommend my own family members to always get an extended warranty, because if you're getting a new car, it is much more feasible to get an extended warranty. Why? Why is that so important? Because when that warranty expires from the factory, usually things are going to go wrong, okay? Also, just remember, on a trade-in, you bought the car, you have the car for 3.5 years. When you trade in the car, it actually, nobody tells you, but as a used car manager, I look at it, that you've been a lot to the service department.
Yeah.
And because you have the warranty, so now your car is worth a little bit more. So these are the things that you got to point out that are important, because without knowing all the steps, that's when you buy a car and in a year from now, you're negative equity for $4,000 or $5,000. Do your due diligence when you finance, and if you could, always go to that credit union versus a bank, okay? Very important. Now, the other thing I would like you to do is write down if you have any questions for the show. And in the future, we'll have a phone number and try to answer questions to the consumer on tips of buying a car, also on tips of trading a car, and also on tips on selling your car on your own. So for the next show, those consumers write this down, get all the information, and call us. We will be posting a number shortly, so everybody has a phone number to reach us.
Well, Richie, back to the wants and needs of when a customer goes into a dealership to look for a car. Do you recommend that everyone test drive whatever car they're looking at?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So why would you recommend them to test drive the car? Because I see a lot of people come into the dealership and it's, I don't want to test drive a car, I've already seen it.
Right. Test driving a car. When you test drive a car, you know how the car feels. Whatever it says on Google and all that. Now, if you went to another dealership and you test drove it, of course you don't have to test drive it again. Okay, but at least get one test drive of the vehicle. Make sure that that vehicle feels right. For an example, just the other day, we purchased a car. I never sat in the car. Great car, but really I don't like the way it is. If I would have test drove it before, chances are I would have passed. You know, so we decided to keep that car for the next year and a half, but we want to trade it in pretty quick. Because in reality, it's not what we thought it was. The car looks great outside, looks roomy, looks great, but when you get in it, you know, because they try to cut things out and all this, it's really small.
The other thing to look at too with wants and needs, and this is if you're going in, you're going to get your car, you're going to look at a car, test drive a car. It's not just looking at your current needs right now. I would also look at any of the needs you might have in the upcoming 2 or 3 years. So, for example, you may go out and get a sports car now, but if you're trying to have a family, you'd be surprised how many people will come in. They'll buy a sports car, and a year later you see them again because now they need a minivan because their wife is having twins or something. So always look at the future and see, can I see myself in this car in the next 3 to 5 years? And will this car still suit my needs in the next 3 to 5 years? I know, Richie, in your time as a dealership, you've seen that probably countless times.
Yeah.
So what we'd say is, guys, when you go into a dealership, look at what's right for you at the current time and what might be right for you in the upcoming 2 to 3 years. We're not saying it's a lifetime commitment, but if you know you're going to be moving in another year or two, or you need a different type of car and you might be going this and that, look at all those ahead so you don't lose money later on going to trade the car in.
And something that's very important, and I'm seeing this today more than ever, brokers are selling cars to consumers. Well, you know what, Mr. Jones? If you work it right, okay? If you don't have a problem and in negotiations and all that, try to stop buying these lease vehicles from these brokers. And let me identify why. Their job is to get you the best price from any bank. It don't matter that at the end of the term, if you have a scratch on the contract, it says $1,000. It don't matter. It's just about the price. Where when you buy a lease vehicle from a dealership, they put you through the factory because the factory believes in retaining their customers.
And I got to cut you off with that. I agree with you 100%. I think making sure you know what you're getting into is always the best thing. So one of the biggest things that we're going to do on this show is each week we will spotlight a dealer that can shed light on the current episode's topic. So today we're going to have Richie start with me, Mr. Eric Nichols. I am the BDC and Internet Director at Apple Honda in Riverhead, New York. What does that mean? It means when you put an internet lead in, you call in, you have questions, you'll end up talking to me or someone from my team. And we're the ones who will get you out the information and hopefully get you in when you're considering buying a new Honda. It is a responsibility of the BDC and Internet Director to listen to the needs of the buyer and put that person in the right hands at the dealership. So, Richie, what questions do you have for me on the reputation of Apple Honda?
Well, how is your reputation at Apple Honda today? And where process do you have to improve it? Because it doesn't really matter where it's at. What really matters is what are you doing to make it better?
So that's always a good question, because as we started out this episode, is that the average consumer will first go, before they go into a dealership, once they choose the brand of whatever car it is, they then find, they go start looking for a dealership. How do they do that? They find the right dealership by looking at the dealership's reputation. So the big thing out there, as we stated earlier, are service reviews. So we're very, very big in doing reviews for service. So everyone who comes in always gets two types of reviews. That they're going to get one from Honda factory saying how was your visit and everything else, and Honda will go through it with the dealership. Then you get ours, which we really want to make sure that we're hitting all of the key points. We'll ask you, how was your time at the dealership? Did you spend, how much time was there? Did you spend less than 2 minutes before someone said hello to you? Did they answer all your questions? Did they go over all of your service needs? In other words, what your car is doing okay with, what it will need down the road, and what you need immediately. These are all things that really you want to look for when going to a dealership. You want to make sure that they're going to give you that attention, as much as attention when you bought the car, later on when you bring it to service them. So like I said, we really look at the service reviews as the biggest one out there right now. Sales as well. We see customers from all over the country come in. We ship cars in, ship cars out. We really pride ourselves on our reviews.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I gotta say this. Apple Honda, okay? So I know that store very well, okay? Now, and I also know that store really well as far as the owner's concerned. May he rest in peace. His name was Irwin Garston. Irwin Garston, just a lot of people don't know, he built the hospital in Riverhead. There's a lot of wings that he put in, okay? He has donated more to Long Island than any person I know of, okay? So that being said, I know that who he left there has his same philosophy. Okay, so this is why it's very important for me why I brought Eric. Now today, there's people that are unhappy. Everybody's unhappy today, but I gotta tell you, when you buy a car from a dealership that has given back in the community 50 times to 100 times more than anybody else, okay, that really helps me make a decision. Irwin Garston always wanted to hire vets. He used to tell me, get me vets, let's hire veterans. He was the first dealership that wanted to do that. So to me, he was a great teacher and mentor. And I know whoever he left there, he left that same philosophy. So I don't really look at the reviews of Apple Honda. What I really look at is the brand, is who's behind that brand first. And let me explain to you why I look at that. Awareness is key. If you go to buy an Apple telephone and you put a bad review, you're buying a brand. They right away verify everything and help the customer. Well, guess what? Apple Honda might have bad reviews. But you want to know something? Look at the process, how they're fixing them.
So we've been, just real quick, I'll stop here on that. So Apple's been on the east end of Long Island. We just celebrated our 61st anniversary of serving the East End. Just remember, you want to pay the least, go east.
Correct.
So today's consumer question is, how does ShopSmartAutos.com work for the consumer? Richie, you know better than anyone. How does it?
Oh, it's very simple. We have the app. Okay, that app, you can shop any car. You see the whole inventory on an app instead of a website, which we all do mobile. It's very mobile friendly. That's very, very important. And the other thing that's really, really important is that VIN verification, where you check the vehicle that you're buying to make sure the price is right. Because if you don't have the right price and you buy the car, you're only going to buy something that you're going to be out. So you got the product and the price, and it's going to be right for you. And the key thing is, don't forget to visit our website, shopsmartautos.com. There's all the information. If you have a little bit of problems with your credit, you're trying to finance a car, you can also go there and fill out a form, and we will give it to the right dealership, and you will buy a vehicle. So don't forget that, because it's key. If you're challenged or if you're looking for a certain make and model that you don't see it, there's a phone number there. Call us, and we'll be more than happy to help you. And if you have any questions about this show, please call. There'll be a number posted here very soon, and you'll have that access.
So with that being said, too, the other thing that the program is going to do, shopsmartautos.com, you're also going to see, like we was talking about this episode, certain reviews out on dealerships. We're going to see service reviews, sales reviews, parts reviews, and really what incentives are out there right now for the cars. So you're going to have everything in a one-stop shop to help you purchase your new car the right way. It's going to help you save money, help you save time, and ultimately it's going to make the experience a lot more enjoyable and easier for you. Thanks.
Great, and thanks a lot for joining us.